In the previous video, I explained the different software components that Zabbix consists of. I briefly covered the difference between an installation from the source files versus installing the Debian binary packages. Now in this section, we will cover the actual installation of the binary packages, the configuration of the database, and how to use the web-based configuration wizard to get your working Zabbix server. As you can see, I have already downloaded the appropriate Debian binary packages. So let's install the server package by using dpkg-i. I'm pretty sure that you're wondering why I'm using dpkg to install the packages and not just apt-get or aptitude. The reason is that at the time this video was made, Debian Wheezy had just been released, which did not contain the Zabbix packages anymore. If you are using the Wheezy backports repository or any newer release of Debian, you should be able to install the packages using apt-get. So the Zabbix server package is now installed, and on Debian-based distributions you can find further information on how to use a certain piece of software in the usr share doc directory. There is a Zabbix server MySQL directory, which contains a readme.debian file. The documentation tells to install a MySQL server package first. On this system, I have already done this. When I look for MySQLD processes, you can see that there is already a server running. Let's take a look at the README again. Next, you will have to create a database called Zabbix with a certain character set of UTF-8, which is a Unicode encoding. Let's run the command. I'm getting asked for the administrative password for the MySQL server, and the database is created. Let's take a look again. The next thing to do is create a user called Zabbix that has access to the Zabbix database. We can just copy and paste this command, and instead of the default password, select something else. In this case, I chose the password Zabbix 2013. Again, I have to enter the administrative password, and the user is created. Last, we have to create the Zabbix MySQL schema. Zabbix comes with a default SQL database schema that you need to use to initialize the database. I just copy and paste the command again, use the proper password, and after roughly a minute, you will have an initialized database. Let's try to connect to the database. Okay, there we are. I will now switch to the Zabbix database and get a list of the tables. So this looks right, the schema has been initialized and the database preparations are complete. Now before we can start the Zabbix server for the first time, we need to edit its configuration file and set the database password. Everything else is already prepared by the Debian package. So we added the Zabbix server configuration file, scroll down until we find the DB password setting, and set it to the Zabbix 2013 password that we set earlier. Now there is one step left before we can start the Zabbix server. On Debian, there is a certain file in etc/default/Zabbix server. This prevents the Zabbix server from starting automatically right after the installation of the package. This is to give you a chance to prepare the database and to avoid errors when starting the Zabbix server. Now that the database is prepared, we can safely set this to yes and start the Zabbix server. And we should take a look at the log file. At the end of the log file you see that all the server processes have been started, and this shows us that the Zabbix server is running. In addition, you can use the ps command to verify that the Zabbix server processes are running. Now this concludes this video. Here we have shown you how to install the Debian binary packages, how to prepare the database, and how to set the server configuration file to start the Zabbix server. In the next video, I will show you how to use the web-based installation wizard to verify that the Zabbix server is up and running.